Yeah. Anyways, welcome to the video. I am your host, Patrick. If you've seen the previous video, or if you haven't seen it, I suggest you go ahead and check out the other video of the Grammy predictions, where we kind of lead into this video, where we're gonna, of course, talk about some snubs. I want to try to do this as quicker than we did the prediction video. We had no idea the prediction video was going to be as long as it was, but I think it was a good one overall, and I think that everything needed to be said. Okay. Now, when it comes to a snub, I haven't done a snub video ever, but I really just, every year you always hearing all of these topics about, oh, this person was snubbed, this person was snubbed, this person was snubbed, right? Now, I just started thinking about it, and I'm like, okay, I really want to talk about this a little bit. Okay, I thought to myself, what would a proper snub be? To me, a proper snub would be an album that was eligible, all right? An album that was eligible for consideration. It was submitted for consideration, and then it was ignored for the award. To me, now you understand there's three parts of that. In order to be snubbed, I will just repeat it. The album has to be, first of all, eligible. Then it has to, secondly, be submitted to be considered. And then the Academy has to basically ignore it. Okay? Now, when you get into talking about the Academy and the voting members of the Academy, that's a lot of people. And, I understand that, there can be a lot of variables there. And we'll probably get into that a little bit more down the line as we go through who I feel like some artists that I believe were snubbed. And I would like to later on hear about some artists that you feel were snubbed, so that we can chat in the comment section and see maybe were they snubbed, were they not snubbed. The biggest problem is when it comes to saying that an artist was snubbed, we don't know. How do we know who actually submitted their work unless they tell us? That's the thing. That's the biggest piece that we're not aware of usually. So now let's get into the eligibility period. I want to get into the eligibility period because it actually changed recently. I won't get into what it used to be because it really wasn't much different anyway. But the eligibility for this 2020 Grammys is the album had to have been released between October 1st, 2018 and August the 31st of 2019. I'll say that one more time. The album had to be released between October 1st, 2018 and August 31st, 2019. That's really important, okay? Because that's the eligibility period. If you want to talk about if somebody was snubbed or not. And I say that because I made a whole list of people that I thought were snubbed, and then once I decided, let me see about this eligibility period, right? And then I realized a lot of the people that I thought were snubbed actually were not snubbed. And maybe this video will help you to understand and check some things out for yourself to see whether or not somebody was actually snubbed, and all of that good stuff. Okay, now with this new schedule, if they continue, don't expect your faves, from what I understand, okay, October 1st, 2018 to August 31st, 2019. You hear no mention of September, right? Okay, now this is what I'm thinking. If they continue with this schedule, don't expect your faves that may be looking for a Grammy consideration. Don't be expecting them to release any new music for the month of September. I mean, it would be right. I mean, it seems as though they've made it this way to where there's only an 11-month period that they have for consideration and for eligibility. Now, I kind of understand that to an extent, because at some point you do have to have a cutoff so that you can have time to go through all of the votes and go through all of the categories and all of the different submissions. I'm not going to get into how the submissions are done and all of that, because I think we'll be here for a long time. If I start getting into that, I will dive very deep into a rabbit hole. with all that. But yeah, don't expect any new music in September is what I'm thinking when it comes to this new schedule, which I think kind of sucks. I mean, like I said, I understand it, but I think that it kind of sucks because like we always want new music, so you don't want to have a period of time where, you know, because I do believe that every artist that's out here, whether they're doing it independently or whatever they're doing, I do feel like every artist does want to be considered for a Grammy. So I don't know. I think that there's not that many people that are just out here going to be throwing out an album in September, unless they've also thrown out one or two other albums throughout the year that they really, really want considered, and maybe they would just, you know, use that month just to get out some stuff. I'm about to go into a rabbit hole, so let me stop. I understand that not everyone can be acknowledged on or off the Grammy stage, but I do have some artists that I think deserve recognition this year. Now I had some other people that I felt like I felt like, oh, they were snubbed, but then I later realized that they were not really snubbed. They were just either they were eligible for the last Grammys, but they were not considered, or their albums may be actually considered for the next round coming up, for the next 2021. All right, so we're only going to talk about the ones that are eligible. Okay, now one of my favorite groups, Atreyu. Their album In Our Wake actually released on October 12th, so of course it was eligible. I really enjoyed that entire album, as I always enjoy their albums, and I just find it interesting that they have never been nominated for a Grammy or any other award that I know about. Any Atreyu fans out there, or Atreyu fans, I always get it confused how to pronounce their name, and that sucks because I really like this band, right? But yeah, if anybody knows if they've won any other awards that I'm just not able to find online, let me know. Another group, Born of Osiris. Okay, their album, The Simulation, released January 11th, 2019. It's eligible. My favorite songs, now, first of all, I'm mentioning these snubbed artists that I'm mentioning because maybe if you haven't heard of these artists, maybe you can check them out and see, you know, if you feel like they were snubbed, or maybe do they shape up to some of the artists that you think were snubbed. And if you're artists that you consider were really snubbed, then maybe we can chat about it, you know, all of that good stuff. And at the same time, we can all learn about some new music that maybe we did or did not know about. Okay, now back to Born of Osiris. My three songs that I really liked from their album, The Simulation, were Disconnect to Me, Under the Sun, and Silence the Echo. And they also have been never nominated for a Grammy or any other award. Never. If you heard that album and you hear that they have never been considered, I just don't know. And if you can hear my cat right now, they don't understand it either. Okay? Anyway, moving right along. Dream Theater. Okay, their album Distance Over Time released in February the 22nd, 2019, of course. My favorite songs from that album were Barstool Warrior, At Wit's End, and Out of Reach. Again, this is another group that has never been nominated for a Grammy. I don't understand these things. Moving on. We're trying to get through this quickly, you guys, all right? Eric Bellinger, okay? His album, The Rebirth 2, released February 22nd, all right? My favorite songs from that were Drive By, Not a Love Song, and iPod on Shuffle. He then went on this year to release another album called Saved by the Bellinger in September, and of course, you heard the word September. That means it's not eligible Is not going more likely is not going to be eligible for a Grammy. By comparison, I feel like maybe with his album Saved by the Bellinger, I feel like maybe he just kind of threw out some songs. As we kind of said earlier, any artist that's going to be now releasing albums in September, they're going to put some effort into it, but it might not. Like, I can totally I feel like I can hear a difference in the quality and everything of what he put into that album that he released in September versus the album that he released earlier, which the Rebirth 2, which is eligible for this Grammys, which I believe was snubbed, right? Now, what he also did, he came back and he released another album called the Cuffing Season 3 in November 21st. So that one is going to be eligible for the next, Grammys in 2021, right? Okay, now from the Saved by the Bellinger, though, I did like the song titled Champagne. All right, now let's move right along. Florida Georgia Line. Now I paused because I'm like, if you've been watching the Grammys, you've seen Florida Georgia Line on the Grammy stage. So and they released the album on February 15th this year called Can't Say I Ain't Country. And very good album. My favorite songs were Swerve, Sitting Pretty, and Told You. Now my favorite was Swerve. I love that song. And Sitting Pretty was a beautiful song as well, along with Told You. I feel like Florida Georgia Line was snubbed. How do you feel? Let's move on. Okay. India Arie. I don't know if that many people know of India Arie, but her album titled Worthy was released on February 15th this year as well. And my top songs from that were That Magic, Coulda, Shoulda, Woulda, and Roller Coaster. In that order. In that order. I really, really love especially that song called That Magic from her album. Let me know. Do you know India Arie? You probably don't. If you haven't, check her out. See if you feel like she was snubbed for a Grammy this year, because her album was definitely eligible, okay? And from what I understand, she has not been nominated for it. All right. Louis Fonsi. Now, we know Louis Fonsi, right? From the hit song Despacito, right? Now, he released his album Vida. The album's titled Vida on February 1st this year. So, of course, again, it is eligible. My favorite songs were, now don't mess me up on my Spanish, because it was a Spanish album, but I listen to everything, okay? Le Pido al Cielo. The second song was Dime que no te irás. The third song was a song that he did with Demi Lovato, Échame la culpa. I really, 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 really love that song. That song is so alive. The music is just so alive. I cannot believe he's not even nominated for a Grammy. He has been nominated for Grammys in the past, but he has never won a Grammy. And considering I think he was nominated, if I'm correct, I think he was nominated in 3 areas for Despacito, and he didn't win any of those. And it was another song back in, I think, 2006 or 2008 or somewhere, and he was nominated in one category for one song, and he didn't win then either. But this man be singing, you guys. He really be singing. I can't stay on that all day. Now, I have my next few artists that I'm gonna list here are actually artists that are outside of the US. At first, I wasn't really sure about whether they are eligible just because they are outside of the US. But as we've seen in the past, we've had BTS, we've had a lot of other artists, including even the Cranberries. The Cranberries is, I believe, from Ireland, if I'm not mistaken. Ireland or Irish, somewhere. They're not necessarily originated from the US. So we're gonna put them in here as well. The band called Hilltop Hoods, they're an Australian band. Their album, The Great Expanse, released in February 22nd. And I noticed something else when I was going through checking out a lot of the ones that I felt were snubbed. A few of them actually released on the same days, like February 15th, February 22nd. Those dates seem to come up a lot. I wonder what was up with that. So either way, they released on February 22nd. And my favorite songs from their album were Into the Abyss, OOFT, and Counterweight. Man, especially that Into the Abyss. Man, though, check them out. If you haven't heard of Hilltop Hoods, check them out. Let me know. Were they snubbed as I say they are, or what? Like, you know, there's a lot of great music in this world, and I just feel like where do we, you know, we need to get these people included. Next, James Morrison. Now, I feel like a lot of you guys might have, you know, his name is slowly creeping in terms of he's doing different features with other artists and such. So some of you are probably at least hearing bits and pieces of you know, vocals from him. He's from the UK, as far as I understand. His album titled You're Stronger Than You Know actually released on March 8th, 2019. So of course, again, it was eligible. My top three from that album are My Love Goes On, that he did with Joss Stone. I had that song on repeat like crazy. Also, I like the songs Slowly and Until the Stars Go Out. He also released this year an album titled Beautiful Friendship with Jeff Clayton on November 21st. I actually haven't been able to hear it yet. So I just found out about that just a little moment ago as I was doing a little research for this video. So I'll be checking that one out because that album will be eligible for the 2021 Grammys. All right, so I didn't want to mention too much about what my favorite ones from that are because it's not eligible for this period anyway. I want to really stay focused on what's being snubbed right now. Okay, next artist, Jack Savaretti. He's also from the UK. His album titled Singing to Strangers was released March 15th of this year. And of course, that means it was eligible. And my favorite songs from that, if you haven't heard of Jack Savaretti, woo, his song Better Off Without Me would be a first one that I would definitely suggest. His vocal quality, everything about Jack Savaretti on that song Better Off Without Me, whew, cold, very good. Okay, the other two songs that I liked from that album are Love Is on the Line and Vidry Oblivion. Once you see the album, you'll see whether or not I screwed up the pronunciation of that. The word is Vedrai. I think that's pronounced Vidry or Vidray. I'm not sure. The next group, which is my last group, okay, Avantasia out of Germany. If you have not heard of Avantasia, it's like some super group to end all super groups. And to be honest, this is the best album I've heard all year, and I dare to say probably my whole life up to this point. Like really, 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 the vocals, the musicality, everything that they do in this album is just, woo, it's just crazy. Just so many levels, so many levels. If you're somebody who really loves musicality and vocals that are unmatched, like, woo, the guys that are singing on this album are insane. I just love it. Now if I would say one song that you should listen to, it's a long song. I think the song is probably about 10 minutes long, but it gives you a whole journey of stuff, a whole journey of just different music styles and vocals and everything in this song. And the song is titled The Raven Child. I feel like this is, man, in terms of just giving you everything and then some, I feel like that song is top notch, for real. If I could ever get a chance to see Avantasia live, that would be, somebody needs to give me a diaper because I might crap myself and all of that just watching these people perform. The other two songs from this album that you should hear are Requiem for a Dream and Invincible. All right. Now, I'm done with my artists that I feel were snubbed. I would like to hear from you guys, and you gals, everyone. I would love to hear from you what artists that you feel were snubbed. If you checked out any of the ones that I mentioned here, I would love to hear what you thought of any of these artists that I've mentioned here. And if you have heard of them, you know, what were some of your favorite songs? Do you feel like they were snubbed? Do you feel like someone else or some other band was better than them that was snubbed? If so, who are they? I would love to know. I mean, there's no arguments from me. I love to hear music of all kinds, of all cultures, of all languages, everything. So please leave your suggestions, your comments in the comment section. You can also follow us on our Instagram page as well. I'll try to make sure if I can try to list the other Instagram where you can see all of the music that I listen to in a year. I'll try to collect it in a whole separate Instagram page. It's like a whole Instagram feed that I've created. You'll see it hopefully in the description section. Eventually we might get some type of podcast going where we can discuss new music every week. If there's something you guys are interested in, that if you stuck around this long in this video, I don't really have much else to say. I'm really anxious to see what you have to say about this video, about the Grammys as a whole, about who you believe were snubbed, and if you've learned anything from this video, or if you have any other things that you think I should know about in regards to, you know, artists being snubbed, the rules and different things of that nature. All right. Until next time. Peace.